that. But what I really want to do is I really want to kind of get a picture of the pandemic, the change, what's happened, what's good, what's bad, in things. Because you know what? I mean, a year and a half ago, maybe year and a half ago, this pandemic. I mean, it's like the world stopped. And for the car business, we really didn't know. I mean, to be honest with you, you remember that, Carl? I mean, it's like, I remember.
It's scary.
Well, I remember Danny coming in and talking about, man, production lines are going to stop, and and for me as a sales manager, I mean, my first thought was you guys. I'm like, man, you got guys. I mean, seriously, just got to go home. They got families. Josh and I just started automatically thinking with Danny. I mean, what's the process? If we have to shut down, we talked about going to skeleton crews. We talked about do you let's get with the guys that want to work. The guys that are like, hey, I'm gonna stay, and the guys that didn't want to stay, we were gonna let them go. You offer a guy 2 months off at a time, or how do you do that? And then how do you pay them?
Right.
I mean, I mean, you buy
That's
magic, dude.
That's where on our end, that's where I was crazy is, how do I take care of my family?
Right.
How do we get customers to even come through the door because of what's happening? Do customers even want to come out of their house? Which people didn't for a long time and still are not, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's been one of those things with me of how do we, as far as on my end and as far as all the other salespeople, how do we make it easy on our customer?
Well, I mean,
Is it driving a car? Is it wiping things down?
Is it bringing it to them?
And we'll get to the customer side of it, and because I think it's important that you talk about. I mean, I really want to kind of keep you guys. I really want to kind of know how you felt from the salesperson standpoint, because really it's kind of like the sky has fallen.
Yeah.
The world was
Scary
at a standstill.
Right.
Yeah, it's scary.
I mean, it had to be like, man, am I going to get paid? How do we get paid? Or is anybody going to come in and work? My mortgage is coming. My car note's coming. I got 2 kids, or I got a kid in college. From your standpoint, I mean,
and people don't realize on our end, on my end, the more I do, the more I make, the better we make. So if I don't do anything, I don't pay the mortgage.
Well, it's that's the great thing about the car business.
It's
always funny. We always talk about teaching you guys. Man don't eat, don't work, or man don't work, don't eat. It's the true concept in the car business, and that's what makes this business so unique in doing things. And the pandemic just kind of like
blew it up.
And I tell you, man, a lot of manufacturers, I believe, made the right stance in the pandemic. I know that some guys came out, GM came out, and there's just a lot of different deals. But I solely, truly appreciate Toyota's standpoint. When they came out and they were like, we're behind our people, because what we found, from being at Wilson Toyota, taking care of your people.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the stance.
Honestly, being around only a couple of years, it was surprising.
Yeah.
On my end, because I came from the corporate world where you're kind of left on an island by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter what the situation.
Yeah, and they were very reassuring too, making sure that we knew that they had our back. We didn't know what was coming.
Right.
But, whatever does come, just know we're here for you guys. If you need something, if if you're concerned about it and you want to do it this way, that's what we need to do. It was really nice to know that they had our back regardless of what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, the business in its own, and it's going to take a lot of conforming from the dealerships, and just from the leadership standpoint, just so you guys know our thought process. Like I said, the first thing was, how do we take care of our people? That was Danny and Danny's main objective when they pulled myself and Josh and Steve in the office. The first, just so you guys know, if you didn't know, that was, seriously, that was their initial thing. Danny goes, how do we take care of our people? How do we make sure that our people and their families are taken care of and it doesn't affect them? Now, keep in mind, we had no clue what was coming. We were just watching New York, and we were watching people. It was like, shut down city.
And everything closed.
So everybody's kind of always in their own little bubble too. So I was kind of interested when that started. How's Ames going to get affected? Outside of being coastal and stuff like that, being a big city. You know,
Well-
where everybody's on top of each other in buildings and stuff.
Well, we
You know,
get
how do we handle
the
it?
style lash. You know, we're the last ones to get the style. I mean, people are wearing all these fancy clothes before we see it here in Ames, Iowa.
Yeah.
But you know, because we're in Ames, Iowa, we're in the middle. I think when things happen like this, I think we're the last. And usually by the time they get to the Midwest, they have some kind of solution.
Right.
Right.
But we were
100%.
proactively having conversations about what it does. You know, there's a lot of times where we were waiting to see if the governor was going to close everything down, and
Yeah.
you know,
Weekly.
are we coming to work next week? You know what I mean? Will we be here next week, or will it be some other time? So, you know, I think from a leadership standpoint, we were really just kind of thinking, man, how do we take care of our people? And if we take care of our people, when all this passes, they'll come back. Because the big thing for any manufacturer out there or any company was, man, will I have anyone when this is over?
Right.
You know, you think how many businesses are shut
Yeah.
down because no employees?
Mm-hmm.
And still happening to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Doors are
there's-
shutting and not reopening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of empty businesses, and it had a lot to do with people struggling for so long that financially they were like, man,
No choice.
they didn't have a choice. And for us, you know, taking care of our people was first. You know, like I said, the Wilsons came out and they're like, whatever we need to do, it doesn't matter. You know, they were, you know, probably don't want me to say this on a podcast, but I mean, they were even willing to go into their own financial pockets, which is the reason why probably most of us stayed at this store. To be honest with you, a lot of people say they're good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You ever get that, man?
Right.
Yeah, that guy's a good guy,
Yeah.
man. You know, they say it about me. You know, Charles a good guy. And then when I walk away, they're like, I hate that dude.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like,
Actions
you
are
know,
always louder.
Yeah.
Actions are always
You know,
louder.
it's all,
They
you know,
are- and that's how they are.
Mm-hmm.
it's
One of my
upfront.
biggest moments of working here is those two guys.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
They're awesome.
I mean, they took that. They were willing to take whatever the outcome was right on the chin, and then that was great. So you know, we had the long conversation about our people, and the Wilsons came up with a great idea, and they look at you know, Steve and Josh and I, and they were like, listen, I mean, just like wholeheartedly, we're going to take care of you.
Right.
You know, he says, don't worry about finances. We're going to take care of you financially, which allowed us to breathe.
Right.
You know, their thing was, let's make sure that we figure out how to take care of our customers.
Yeah.
What, you know.
And I think that was staff wide too. You know, when they give you
exactly
that
what
peace
I
of
was
mind
saying.
of, you know, hey, we're going to take care of you guys. That frees us. You know, if we know we've got backing there to go out and take care of our customers an extra way. You
Yeah.
know, like we did pickups for oil changes. I mean, we did sanitized vehicles before delivery.
Which was a
you know,
great
we did-
idea.
We
I
did
mean,
a whole bunch of different things, but I think it really opened us up to be able to do those things, knowing that they had our back,
Yeah.
or they were, you know, we were covered in case something
well, it's
happened.
important. You know, you bring up the oil change thing. You know, the funny thing about that story is
Mhm.
that came from Danny. I mean, you know, you think, because you know, we're always thinking it, you know, you think about owners and they're like, you know, think of how to save money and don't spend any money. And he was like, what do you think about if we go pick up our service customers? Because service is the only thing that was open in
Right.
real world, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, sales.
100%.
We were trying to sell crickets.
Mhm.
You know, they were walking across the showroom. We were trying to see if they had driver's license and if what kind of credit score
It's
they
like
had.
WWE when somebody came in.
So,
It was
you know,
different.
the service direction, you know, Danny was like, we're going to be able to service people. And
Yeah.
it was actually his idea.
Mhm.
Hey, why don't we go pick up our service customers and we'll wear masks and
He actually
we'll
went
wipe
out a couple
down.
times on
Yeah.
his own and picked up cars.
You know, if I remember, I think he started with his neighbor.
Yeah.
I think it was his neighbor that was
Wow.
like, hey, I'll take your car in and
Yeah.
get it. And it just kind of evolved. And then I don't know who it was, but they were like, well, why don't we take their neighbor's car too? So we
Yeah.
pick up some
Yeah, that was
simple.
awesome.
Yeah, if we're coming there, leave your neighbor's car in the driveway. We'll pick them both up.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really cool program.
I remember doing deliveries and taking cars back and literally no contact, no nothing.
Mhm.
They paid with a debit or credit card or whatever, however
Yeah.
they did it. And I put keys in flower pots.
Yeah.
Or whatnot.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
wiped the steering wheel down and I got out and jumped in the car and came back. It was crazy.
And you know, you think about you know, taking debit cards and things like that. The coolest thing about the program was, you know, you pay for yours, you basically get 2 for 1 because
Yeah.
we were doing the neighbor's card. But you know, again, making a change on the dime to be able to go and pick up a car for service, and it wasn't just
Right.
ours, whatever you
Yeah.
needed. So
We
you
can
know,
still do that, right?
we still do that. You know, that's and that's what we're talking about. I
Yeah.
mean, the change that the pandemic, that COVID-19 brought the car business, and how many dealerships are still keeping. Because I tell you, there were some awesome things that came out of that made us. You know, when you look at it from a business standpoint, you were like, dude, why weren't we doing this?
Agreed.
You know, a long time ago. You know, picking up your customers' cars, and you know, you got a lot of elderly customers out there that, you know, man, if you can just pick up their car, you know, every 6 months or every 5,000 miles, man, how much of a burden it takes off of them, and just kind of clean it. So these are things that I think through the pandemic we learned, and hopefully a lot of car dealerships are still doing that.
Yeah.
And then what about the boom of online?
Right.
You know, I mean, to have your inventory correct online became like a.
You can't keep up. I mean, you can't keep up.
I mean, it was like, dude, if you said your car was red and it was blue, I mean, you're in trouble, dude.
It's a car.
Well, you think about the things that came out from, you know, customer service. Online became huge, and you were
Pushed
talking
almost
about
to the
it.
forefront.
Well,
It's crazy.
earlier you said something earlier about customer. What were you talking about? Customer service through this whole deal.
Oh, I was saying that, you know, on my end, as far as all the salespeople go, I felt like, and again, just being a little bit older, that some people think that it's a replacement by going to different things where people can do things on their own. The one thing that you can never ever take away is the service that we do here and how we take care of people when they get here, no matter what point that is. It's the service part of it
Right.
that you can't replace.
Well, I think there's one thing that you're never going to be able to get rid of. I don't care what kind of computer, robot,
Person,
whatever you
person.
do, is
Right.
person to person, and customer service. And,
Yeah.
and I'm always telling you guys when we're training is people will pay more for good customer service. I mean, you don't believe me? Go do a drive-through right now,
Yep.
right?
100%.
I bring up the lady that worked at McDonald's. You know, you go in McDonald's, I don't care what kind of mood you
That was
in.
always hanging out the
Right on
window?
Duff Street, yeah.
Yeah.
You get to the window and she sings that crazy
Yeah.
McDonald's
She
song.
sings
That,
that.
you know, if I was if I was McDonald's from a manufacturing standpoint, that lady would have been on every commercial.
All over it.
Not because
All over
we
it.
paid her to do it, because that was her own deal.
Yeah.
Own
To where-
personality,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
made it a
She'd be
better
yelling 3
experience.
cars back.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you know, it's crazy.
Yes,
that,
you
you know,
would.
I live west.
Yeah.
I would pass that McDonald's to go to the McDonald's she was at because, you know, you
Puts you in
didn't
a good
know.
mood.
Well, dude, I mean, it's like
It does.
sitting
It
there.
makes
rubs
the
off on
experience
you.
better.
$3.52. Ba-da-da-da-da. I'm like, what? You get paid every time you say I'm loving it. I mean, jeez.
It's true though.
But it was true,
It's
though.
awesome.
You know, you think about customer service, and you know what you know, think of how many people went to that McDonald's because she was there.
Yep.
Yep.
So you learned a lot about yourself as a company through the pandemic and customer service. And when we talk about how we were through the whole process, we look at it from a financial standpoint, from you know, just keeping our customers, keeping our salespeople. Somebody's trying to call somebody from my phone. Keeping our salespeople. It really did come down to our customer service and who we are. You know, we were built this way. I mean, we hired
100%.
we hired you because of the way you are and how you treat people. I didn't care if you.
Sorry.
I didn't care if you couldn't sell. You know, I say it all the time. You know, I can take a guy that's a great salesperson but a jerk. You know, or I can get a guy. You know, you can't make that guy a good person. He's just not a good person. But I can take a good person and teach him how to sell cars all day long, and that's kind of our hiring motto.
Right.
Right.
And that's why we train so much. I mean, you know, you're mandatory
Which
3
is
days a
completely
week.
different than any, I'm assuming, car dealership out there. That we do stuff constantly to get better.
Well, you think about this, right? The world moves on the dime. We're talking about the pandemic and how it's affecting the car industry. The world moves on the dime and things happen. One day you're sitting there and you're out fishing, and the next day you can't go fishing because there's some COVID-19 thing that
Can't get any bait.
you never heard. Yeah, I mean, you can't go in. And everybody's wearing a mask and
Yeah.
things like that. So if you're not in front of your staff on a consistent basis, you know, imagine trying to rally the troops of people you never talked to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I want to know your tendencies. I want to know your tendencies. Because the truth of it is this: when we sit down and we do numbers, and Josh is going to kill me when he hears this, but it's true. We sit down and they're like, "Hey, we got to sell this many cars, and we got this many salespeople, and we're just going to divide it by that number."
Right.
And I'm the guy sitting there going, "No. We're not going to divide it by that number because the expectation is the expectation." And
Right.
I may have 15 sales guys, but
Got your top
this,
group in here.
this dude's been here for 6 years. He's never sold more than 8 cars. Why would I sign him up for 15?
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, so we're
Right.
failing ourselves if we do that. So we began to look at our numbers and really have an expectation board where we're like, okay, we're going to get to 100 cars. This guy's going to sell 20. This guy's going to sell 20, but this guy's going to sell 15.
Right.
This guy, and then I got 6 8-car guys.
Yep.
You know, which really, you
But
know,
then it comes down to just doing your part too. You know, if you're going to be a 10-car guy and you're,
Do it.
be the best 10-car guy you got. You know, that's what
absolutely. I mean, hey, I always say you're either going to be a lion or you're going to be a gazelle. You're going to be one of them. And
Yeah.
you guys get really upset when I start having this conversation.
I love it because there's only one thing here.
Well, first of all, there's only going to be so many lions. You know, I mean, everybody can't be a lion because we just tear each other apart, right? We got nothing to hunt at that point. You know what I mean? We're hunting each other, bro. I mean, but you know, you get gazelles, and some people get so disappointed when you look at them. You're like, dude, you're a gazelle.
Yeah.
And I tell them, don't get disappointed. Just be a faster gazelle. You know what I mean? Just don't be the slowest one. You know, the dude that's sitting there limping, that's the dude that I would be worried about, right? So through that, you know, it affected us salespeople. It affected you guys from your pay scale.
Mentally.
You know,
Process-
mentally. You know, what do you say mentally? What do you mean by mentally? I mean,
The stress from behind it of being, I'm a very outgoing person. Obviously, everyone knows that knows me. And to not be able to be myself every day, I'm a touchy, shake hands, slap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And having to pull back, having
Right.
to reserve, was hard on me. It was hard on me to go home and make sure that I washed my hands so much that I had the cracks in my hands so that I could give my wife a hug at the end of the night, right? And so it changed a lot. And mentally, being a little bit older, the fear factor behind of what happens if I get sick, of how long and what will it do to me. And at 51, at 50 at the time, really put a lot of stress on me.
Sure.
Because I wasn't just worried about me, I was worried about every customer that came through the store and also every single person that I work with, because how bad I'd feel if I would have got them sick.
and we
Just
had
had
that
a
in our
grandbaby.
family.
And now I'm a grandpa.
Plus, you just had a
And I know I don't look that old, but I am.
Hey, that's your opinion, and that's
You
what
can
you
be real.
have your own opinion.
Yeah.
You hold it to yourself. You know, and you talk about that stress and that emotional, because you're that upbeat, outgoing person, and you care about the next guy next to you. And you know, we had to think about our customers too, and if it was smart for us to stay open. And we even had a few people say, "Why are you guys open?" And it was easy answer. You know, we're open because I know how you feel and I understand and I agree with you. But then there's someone that's at home that needs us. You know, they need their car service. They still have to go to work like we did, and they need us to be there for them. So that was our decision in staying. And we didn't make everybody stay. I mean, I think you guys remember too that we were like, if you're uncomfortable, we're not firing you. You still have a job here. Do whatever makes you comfortable.
Yep.
So, you know, I just threw that whole thing, and I think what helped me is I'm more of a it is what it is person. I don't overthink anything. I don't live in a stressful world because I believe things happen for a reason. And I like to keep a calm mind so I can deal with it. You know what I mean? So when the pandemic came for me, I really just took a deep breath and started thinking about, okay, what do we need to take care of first? You know, what things do we need to start thinking about and think down the line and the big picture, and it allowed me to really kind of stay focused on, you know, I mean, we were here, we were going to deal with it regardless.
Right.
Either way.
know.
Right.
How do we do it? How do we keep our guys doing it? So it affected us healthy. Some of you guys even went through the COVID-19 deal,
absolutely.
and you were sick and you were out of the office, and we had to deal with, you know, think, okay, what do you tell this person's customer?
Right.
You know, what else you do?
Well,
Yeah, without causing
and again, everyone that knows me knows I went through it.
Yeah.
And I didn't go through it as I went through it as it was pretty nasty.
Right.
Lost 19 pounds, was out of work for 30 days.
Yeah.
One, the Wilsons took care of me, so I didn't have to stress out about that. And what I mean by that is I got phone calls, I got checkups, and my family was taken care of. I picked up the phone and called everyone I had been in contact with in 2 weeks to make sure that I knew that everybody, prospect, customer, anybody that worked here, anybody I was around, because I went out for dinner the night I got sick.
Yeah.
So I called that restaurant and let them know. But for each individual, I think the reality of what COVID is a lot different. But for me, it was a huge, am I gonna make it through it kind of scenario.
Right.
So I didn't eat for 9 days.
Yeah.
So it was
I
tough.
remember you
It was
going
tough.
through that.
I looked like
That
a
was
skeleton
Yeah.
when I was done.
crazy.
Wish I kind of still looked.
You know, you know, the uncertainty or the unknowing was crazy through that whole thing. And you know, from our standpoint, from a leadership deal, I mean, it was stressful for us because, man, it was like, dude, you know, here I got Chad, and is he going to make it? And you're watching TV, and I mean, you're seeing you know, unfortunately, I mean, you're seeing freezers of, you know, corpses and
It's
things
scary.
like that. And now here you got one of your good friends and your employees, and they're sitting there like, dude, is he, you know, and his dude is like, dude, I lost 58 pounds.
Yeah, I was a disaster.
My eyeballs fell out and all that.
It's different seeing it, you know, on the news and seeing it and hearing about it.
Yeah.
But when it hits home, when it
When
hits
it's- when
people
it's
close
you or
to you,
someone
when,
you're close
when
to,
it gets in where you
changes
work
everything.
and where people you care about, you know, it's different. You think about it differently.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a what if at that point. It's a
Right.
okay, now
Right.
how do we proceed?
Yeah.
you
And the
know?
crazy part, you don't know how. I have no idea how I got it. Zero.
Yeah.
I don't, because I washed constantly here, sanitized constantly here, wore a mask from day one. When Danny said we're gonna wear masks starting now,
Yep.
went out to eat feeling fine, and 3 hours later I was sick.
Can you have customers make you a mask?
I did have.
You always get those
Several
customers, you know,
I don't know if that's a hint. But I don't know.
your customers just, like, you know, either they made you a mask because they were looking for you, or they wanted to make sure the breath wasn't
They were like,
going
"Come on,
in."
man."
You never know why people do that. You had garlic last night? But yeah, that was that thing.
I think one of the coolest things, you know, looking at how we kind of did the pandemic was, you know, it felt like when we started to do the oil change thing, going to pick up the cars and stuff like that, like it was almost reactionary to the pandemic, but in the grand scheme of things, it really was proactive.
Right.
Because it was like, okay, this is how we're going to navigate this, but you know, how do we keep this type of customer service and this type of, you know, smile on somebody's face post pandemic too, with keeping in, you know, all the health and safety protocols. And so it was actually not reactionary, it was more proactive than anything.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, at the time we were just trying to figure out a way to navigate and get through it. Turns out,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
were ahead of the
kind of
curve.
set ourselves
Yeah.
up for a, you know, it was cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Customers have always been very appreciative.
appreciative. Yeah, but that's you know that's the Midwest. That's really definitely Ames and Ankeny and the surrounding areas of Des Moines,
100%.
Altoona. That's just who we are in this area. So it really showed up. You know, they say Iowa nice. It really kind of showed up through the pandemic
Right.
of what people needed and how they treated everyone. And you know, the crazy thing we talk about the manufacturers and the stance that they made. Here's the craziest thing about this whole pandemic thing, and you guys, we talk about this all the time. So prior to COVID-19, prior to the pandemic, Danny came back from a meeting, and he grabbed Josh and I, and he was like, I gotta tell you guys something. Okay, Toyota's got this crazy idea that you're gonna be able to, like, the salesperson will stay in their office and they're gonna have iPads, and the customer, they never have to leave, and the customer's gonna be controlling the deal, and you're gonna be like the Wizard of Oz. You're gonna be behind the curtain and you know,
just show up with the car.
yeah, you know, and he's telling us about this crazy idea. And I mean, I'm serious, dude. This is like a year or 6 months before the pandemic. I mean, and he's ranting and raving about this thing, and get ready, and it's gonna change the world, and we're, you know, Danny's like always excited about everything. so you know, Josh and I are sitting there, we're like, yeah, okay, what does it do? I don't know. You know, so and this is before the pandemic started. So we started this thing a year before, 6 months before COVID. Danny comes back to us and he goes, SmartPath. He just walks in and he's got me, Josh, and Steve, and he goes, and just walks in and he's like, SmartPath. And I'm like,
Cool, man.
I got you, dog. Not really sure what you mean, but your name's on the building, so SmartPath it is. You know, is that gonna be my new last name? Let's just do it. So he comes in and he just throws us. You know, I've been called smart something, but usually Path isn't what's
Yeah,
next.
you're right.
So he comes in and just throws it out there. He's like, SmartPath, and we're just kind of, you know, I mean, the boss is talking, so you're like, yeah, man, you know, what is it? I don't know, but this is what it looks like. But, you know, Toyota is kind of back to what they were talking about. It's this process that they were going to call SmartPath, and they wanted to make it easier for the consumer and make the consumer kind of control things, because, you know, you got this weird, the consumer has this weird theory that every dealer is out to get them,
Right.
which is, I think, is crazy.
Yeah.
I think that some dealers have figured out that you're going to have a car. Other than a house, your automobile is probably going to be the biggest purchase that you're going to make. So the smart car dealerships have figured out, like we have, man, let's take care of our customers, and we're transparent as all get out.
Right.
You know, so when SmartPath came about, it was like, we're going to make it transparent. We're going to show the we're going to show the consumers everything.
Right.
They're going to be able to see the rates. They're going to be able to see the prices. They're going to be able to change it themselves, control the deal, and we're like, that ain't ever going to work.
Yep.
You know, so this is before the pandemic.
Right.
You know, this tells you about Toyota's thought process and what they were thinking so far. Now I'm not saying they got a crystal ball. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this was created by Toyota and they created this COVID-19 and they were gonna because they wanted to launch SmartPath. That's not what we're talking about here. We're just talking about their forward thinking. Of this deal. This was something they were thinking about. How do we make the consumer's life a lot easier?
Right.
Prior to the pandemic,
going
it just
that way.
happened to be perfect timing.
Yeah.
So they come out with this thing, and Danny's selling it to Josh and I. And we're like, I'm like, dude, you tell me where we're going, and let's go. I mean, I'm 100, and Josh is like, let's do. Josh is a smart one. I was like, we're brothers. He's like the smart brother, and I'm like the brother. Like, let's go tear some stuff down. You know what I mean? And he's sitting there, he's like, whoa, wait a minute, grasshopper, right? Let's get the everything. Let's get the dynamics because you guys know me. It's like,
Yeah.
hey man, I'm gonna go tear that wall down. That wall, or did you mean this wall? You know what I'm saying?
Is that why you have glass on this
Yeah.
wall?
Dude, I told Danny, I said, luckily you haven't replaced that thing yet. I just get up, I'm gonna go. He's like, shh. They're gonna remodel. I was like, dude, I need glass everywhere. And then I think to myself, I got this little microwave right here. It gets hot, and I start
It does
cooking
get very hot.
like a
Glass
roasted
SmartPath
chicken.
here, like stay right there.
So yeah, I was just ranting about whatever. So they come out with this SmartPath thing, and Toyota's talking about it, and it's going to be this transparent, easy process, and then eventually the consumer will be able to buy a car from their living room,
Right.
and we're going to deliver it. And the best things like Toyota, Wilson would be a great store to do this. So they have this idea prior to the pandemic, and then boom, here comes COVID-19. And we're in the process of launching this thing, and we're going to bring people in from California and Texas, and woo, they're going to get the Wilson Toyota, and we're going to be like, yeah, we the SmartPath store. Pandemic comes in,
Right.
can't do it. They're trying to launch this thing in places. I think they get one store launched in like New York or something, which we know that was a complete shutdown, so that kind of missed everything. And we were going to be the next store, and they're supposed to come out, couldn't come out. Danny gets to talking to Toyota. I'll throw some, I'm gonna throw a lot of these guys' names out there because they probably don't care anyway. But AB and those guys, they were like, hey, let's do it anyway. Toyota can, Wilson Toyota can handle it, and I appreciated that.
Right.
Right.
That they were like, dude, they got the infrastructure there to launch this thing, and they train so much that we can send them the literature, and they can launch this thing on their own.
Yeah.
Little did they.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Hey, we got it launched.
The thought was
I'm gonna tell you this.
We get launched.
The process was right.
Yeah.
The process was right. The infrastructure was
I
wrong.
figured out SmartPath was one word. Dude, it was one.
Well, it was. You know what? It was a great idea.
That's funny.
It was. And you know what? Here's what I'm gonna tell you. It's perfect.
It is a good.
It's a great concept.
Very good.
I mean, it's everything has its kinks. Everything. I mean, I don't care if it has a computer to do with it.
Yeah.
It's gonna have issues.
Right.
So that's what we're finding out with SmartPath. So we get this thing, it gets launched, we try it. Every salesperson in our dealership
Yeah.
gets an iPad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something.
What happened
Well, here's what I'm gonna tell you, man. There's some guys in the world. I'm not even gonna say it at my dealership. Just trust me. As other dealers get to talk to SmartPath, you got some people around you that shouldn't have watches. Better yet, iPads. It's like, and it's scary. I mean, you think about. I mean, Ted, you're actually one of those guys.
Have you seen my glasses?
There's a guy that walks around. He's got his glasses on his head. He's like, "Yeah, I lost my glasses," or he's got them sitting right here. Oh, where's my glasses? Carl, where's my glasses?
Uses the first laptop ever made.
Yeah.
I still have it.
You're feeding this dinosaur in the back of your computer so it keeps running. Trying to
That's
focus.
because I'm old enough to know the phone.
Yeah. I'm that old. I remember the rotary dial phone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always teasing, people was like, I know people got rotary dial cell phones. I don't think Apple made them. But,
That's when you didn't want to call anybody with a 9 in their number.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
save the number.
It was easier to call 411 and let them route you.
Yeah.
You couldn't get out of the room either because the cord only went so far.
Man, we're
Oh, dude, you should have been.
We're dating ourselves.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
dude,
we should.
dude, I'm serious. I had a cord at my parents' house that we, our phones report people. We're probably stealing it from the neighbor's line anyway. But oh, sorry, Dad. I had a cord, and my room was in the basement.
Ran through the whole house.
Oh, dude, so I ran this thing. through the whole house. And my mom used to yell, "Hey, get that car out, trip over the cord." So I thought it was a good idea to run it through the fence. It was great in the summer or in the winter because it was just cold air running through that thing. You run that thing through the winter and that thing is just gooey and it melted. Anyway, it has nothing to do with any
Hey,
of
is that
it.
how Smart Path goes?
I don't know. That's how Smart Path started way back when Flintstones were coming. They come out with this Smart Path thing and they launch this thing and it comes in and it's really awesome and we're talking about it and I think for all of us we felt like, man, it's gonna come out, it's gonna be perfect, right? No problems.
Right out of the gates.
Right out of the
Yeah.
gates. Well, you got this computer that needs to talk to this computer that needs to talk to this computer, and they were like, let's do it because it's a pandemic and we need it.
Right.
And this computer talked to the other computer because maybe they thought that computer was cuter, and before you know it, we were all our receipts showed Best Buy.
There were people on the end of those computers too, though. So
There were people, and Toyota in the defense, they really did a good job, and I think that's why SmartPath is where it is today. Is because there were so many people. Toyota had so many people, and it was great to be able to just. I mean, guys, when we finally got someone physically in our store to launch SmartPath, the best part about it is we were able to come up with an issue and call someone, and then we would video it. And they would be watching that video and addressing it and correcting it. And that's when you think about things going, man, that is like Kaizen at its best.
I will tell you what I learned very quickly, but I don't know if I've learned it all the way yet. You have to wait till someone else finishes their part before you hit the button
can go again.
Well, or you just send it to them again and again and again and again. Nobody knew that though, but I didn't know.
Trial and error. We're out there, and I'm like, Chad, stop hitting the buttons, man. They didn't tell us we were going to have to start over if you opened it before we were done.
Well, we learned the hard way on that one.
Yeah. But we get this thing, and it comes out, and it really does change the game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about SmartPath and what it's done, it really has changed and evolved the car industry, and it's done great things for us. And Toyota was talking about how it's so easy, it's gonna make it easy for the consumer. And we're like, it's already easy for our customers. Right. It just streamline the process.
I want to read something because I was thinking about this, about what SmartPath is to me, right? Compared to a customer or compared to a manager or compared to any of the other salespeople. And when I sat there, I'll never forget when I was interviewed here. Danny asked me what I thought about being a salesperson selling cars. And I told him I didn't want anything to do with it. Even though I was here, and he asked me why. And I said, because of the perception that we have as salespeople in the car business.
Sure.
He looked me right in the eyes, and this was 5 minutes after I'd been in the building, and he said, if you don't like it, change it. And that has stuck with me from day one, that guy said that to me, and I was just like, let's do it. So for SmartPath and how I looked at it, I wrote it down because I think, for me, this is really what it means. And I put, it's an easy streamline, and I did it from both views, the customer and myself, okay? It's an easy, streamlined way for the customer to purchase a car at their convenience.
In their terms, too, guys.
It's how you buy your shoes, it's how you buy your,
That's what I was
buy
getting
so
at.
many things online.
Because I said, whether you're here in the dealership, and we do it together, or where you're sitting on your couch, watching your favorite TV show, you can literally do it. Yeah. And you can do it easily. And I think the whole idea behind it was easy, convenient, transparent.
Well, I'll tell you guys all the time. I was like, there's three things that I always want you to be. I want you to be the 3 C's. I want you to be comfortable. I want you to be confident. I want you to be in control. And when you think about SmartPath, that's exactly what it is. 100%. It gives the consumer the confidence to go through the process and know that everything that they're doing is only up and up.
Right.
It keeps them comfortable because it's their world. They're doing it on their own terms and their own, and then they're in control. And if you can do those 3 things, not just in the car, but in life, if you can stay, be confident and be comfortable and be in control. And when you say control, they're like, well, you tell people what to do. No, I mean control is, I know how I want to feel. I'm controlling how I feel, things like that, not so much in telling people what to do. And that's what SmartPath is. It allows the consumer to do all these things.
They can see everything, and they can make the choices of what best fits them.
And before I got in the car business, I always thought buying a car was kind of a scary thing. I mean, it was like I didn't understand the process, so I didn't really know, what questions to ask, or gosh, man, it was just kind of daunting to me to go into a dealership and buy a car. But with SmartPath, giving all of that information transparent, not only does that, you know, as somebody who would think that process is scary,
Right.
now I know that this guy that's sitting across the desk from me is on my team. It's not me versus the salesperson versus the manager versus the dealership. They're really trying to help me get a car, and it's the most transparent way. And it just simplified some of those things that
That's the
maybe
key right there.
didn't have. There wasn't a good explanation as to, you know, sales versus finance versus this. Now it's all laid out. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
I mean it's
Transparent.
It's great.
But you know, you said something, and I wrote it down. It's one of those. You said it was scary to me because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think about how many of our customers come in and the fear.
And I bought 4 cars.
The fear of buying anything if you don't understand it is really, really scary. And I think we've done a great job over the years. I mean, I've been here 17 years. A great job of just make sure our customers understand. I mean, you want to talk about open book? I'll tell you, if someone's buying a car or buying anything, buy it from somewhere where the owners are good people, and you know they're good people. Because the truth of it is, can it be a dirty place? Can a car dealership be a dirty place and deceitful? And absolutely.
Yeah.
But it starts at the top, and
Right.
it is a business. Don't get me wrong. Profit is not a bad thing.
No.
People come in and they're like, "Well, you guys just make a lot of money on people." Well, the truth of it is, most people go to work every day to make money. I mean, that's the point. This is a business like any other business. I think when you buy it from a reputable business and the ownership are good people, truly hearted good people, they minimize. You know what I mean? Because here's the deal. I'll be honest with you. You're here to make money. I mean, I gotta say it because people think, well, you know, you shouldn't make any money. Well, why shouldn't I make money?
Right.
I mean, I don't ever expect any of my customers to go to work and not get paid. Right? We're coming to a job. We're giving you a service. I just want to make sure that the service that we're giving them is on the up and up. It matches, you know, the money that we're asking for. And when I was in sales, I'll tell you, I always thought that my service alone, me, if you could work with me, my thought process was just having me was worth at least $1,000.
Right.
That means if you left another dealer and that dealer wanted you to pay this price, I was going to treat you and give you this customer service that was worth $1,000. What does that mean? That means when I say, if you need anything, call me. I mean, if you need anything, call me. And I'm going to answer my phone and we're going to get it taken care of. But that comes with, you can't make it here for service. I'm going to come. I was doing the service thing way before. So I think profit is a good thing. It's going to happen. You're going to make money. And that's a good. He's got like this little engineer guy that's behind the deal, and you know,
Cue card?
yeah, it's like a cue card. He's over there, and instead of snapping because you can hear him, he's sitting there and he's doing like this, and he's giving me all these notes. He's like, shut up.
That's my favorite one.
And I like this Carl. He just like to tell people what to do. You know, he didn't say it. He's like every guy on the computer.
You know, behind the scenes.
Yeah, you get so tough behind the scenes. Like,
I think he just called you a text message.
I don't move my head like that.
you know, but thank you, Carl. You telling people what to do. You're good at it. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we want to make sure that we're taking care of it. And I think people should understand that you go to a car dealership, they should make money because they're taking care of you, and it's a big purchase. Just make sure that they're taking care of you, and it's worth it. And that's where the customer service comes in. So we make money. Don't get me wrong. Do we make tons of money? No, because our owners control. You know, they truthfully say, Chad, I'm going to take care of you financially. Don't worry about it. You take care of my customer. That means that you may have to give them. You may have to give the car away. We may not make tons of money, but I'm going to take care of you so you don't worry about the finance. And that's what makes our life easy here at Wilson Toyota.
Sure.
I'll tell everybody out there that's listening, when you bought your car, did somebody make something from a profitable standpoint on you? Absolutely they did. But that's business. Just like wherever you work, you went to work, you got paid.
On any
Right?
product.
I mean, it's a retail business. So I want to be clear. People are like, you're making any money? Yeah, I'm making some money. I mean,
Show up if I didn't.
yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. I told Danny, hey, you want me to not come here? Don't pay me.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, today you don't even have to fire me. Just don't give me a check.
Yeah.
You know, I won't come back. I promise you. I won't even visit. Right?
I just giggle when he says that too. When he says it in the meetings, I'm just like, here we go.
Yep.
Well, you know,
pay me, but it's true.
We say that because
It's true.
we've really come up with this culture where we all kind of hang out and we're all brothers and things like that. And sometimes I think think it goes too far, and we're just here to hang out. And we have to keep it in perspective.
Right.
Of man, yeah, I want you guys to have fun, and I want you guys to hang out. But at the end of the day,
It's a business.
it's a business.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm the first one. You guys know me. I'm always like, it's never personal for me.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always business, and I can differentiate
Yeah.
the two. So come to work. But anyway,
That's right.
We didn't have a good day yesterday. Don't talk to me about the football game. Let's do something else.
Absolutely. You know what? And I think that's the right way to be. And you
But
guys
there's a time
always
and
laugh.
place, you know?
You laugh about that. For me, it's like, dude, if we haven't done any business, that's all I'm thinking
I
about.
don't want to talk sports.
Yeah. I mean, if you come in here, you guys always
Well, first
laughing
of
at
all,
me. You know, guys come in.
You guys both know my wife. Cars must be sold.
Yes.
Absolutely. You go home and tell mama, hey, you know what? We had fun. We talked about football, basketball. Where's the check?
Yeah. Right. She's like, football is not on for a month.
Yeah. That's what people always say. Hey, did you see what LeBron did last night? I know LeBron didn't buy a car for me. I know that. I mean, when LeBron buy a car for me, let's talk about LeBron. But until then, hey, we talk on Sunday, bud. It's like,
Oh,
I
man.
got, not that I don't want to talk. It is not that it's not that I don't want to talk about LeBron. It's not that I don't want to talk about the basketball game.
Right.
But I say keep the main thing the main thing.
That's right.
Let's take care of business first. And at the end of the day, you got an extra 5-10 minutes. Then you have that conversation. But I'm gonna make sure that we're on the grind every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just getting it on.
Yep.
Because when we have good days, at the end of the day, I get goofy.
Yeah.
It's like I'm drunk. I'm like, turn the music on. I get a little Kingfish playing.
Yeah.
You guys know I'm in a good mood when you hear Kingfish.
Yeah, little boy.
But when you get Kingfish coming here, I'm in a good mood. But you come in here and I'm listening to Denzel tell you how you should be a good person. Y'all know I'm in an ugly place. I'm trying to come out of it. So keep that in mind. But just to understand things, we talk about that all the time.
Tron's watching
Understand.
Training Day again.
Not even, I
No,
don't think
yeah,
I don't think you can recite half the stuff that I would want to recite. But it puts you in that certain mood, and it's funny how you feel. You think about, man, how's a person's mentality? You guys know, for me, if I'm listening to Kingfisher, or if I'm listening to, anybody in my music wise, I'm like, yeah, I'm in that vibe, right? If you come in here and I'm listening to Kobe talk about how you better show up early,
Right.
or I'm gonna kick your teeth
Yeah,
in.
that's how you know what question you can ask.
I always just turn around and walk back out. It's not even going in
You
there.
can hear it from your desk.
I can hear it.
Yeah. Hey, but my door's always open. Just
Oh,
so you
yes.
So the crazy thing is, when SmartPath first started, I was like the opposite dude. For some weird reason, I was just like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I think this is
Yeah.
awesome. Was that? I mean, Were you
the-
there?
I'm 50. If I try it and I can do it,
Anybody
can do it.
Right.
Because I'm 50. And I don't change very easy.
And now you're the
But
guy
you're
everybody asks
what?
questions to.
you're
I'm
what?
51.
Oh! I thought you said
I'm
you're fit. Yeah, you what?
Yeah, I'm
Man,
50.
Here
he goes.
You
Here he goes
I'm
again.
just saying, dog.
Hey, you know the best thing about SmartPath? I can just send him stuff and send it
You don't
back.
even
Don't even
come
have to
in
come in there.
Well, here's the crazy thing. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Just some of the deals that we've done. That one of the things I really enjoy is the interaction with the customer, because the customers hold that iPad, and I know that any message that I send is going directly to them.
They gonna see
So it's like, I really don't like Chad, but let's do the deal anyway. Don't tell him.
Hey, wait a minute, you sent that to me this morning.
I know. I thought the customer
You
had
said
it.
I'm doing this for them, but not you. What?
Yeah, that's true, Chad. I love you like a play cousin. So, it's one of those things. So we got SmartPath that came in, and Danny was like, Josh, Troy, you're taking, and Josh and I hit the ground, and we're running, and we thought, man, we're gonna do this thing, and we found out, man, that it really needs its own person. I mean, you need somebody that's gonna just really kind of grab the bull by the horns, and it needs eyes on SmartPath 24/7 all the time, because it's such a working part. With so many other working parts that goes with it, that somebody really.
Yeah.
So we sat down and we talked to him. Like, dude, we need to find somebody internally that can take SmartPath and not so much take it off our plate, but just deal with it. Somebody that's So I was like, dude, let's find the youngest guy. Let's get Carl.
Yeah.
And he's like this, and everything he has is automated. And Josh
Yoda.
goes, he goes, Chad. But I'm like, Chad's skinny.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, Chad, did see an
Where's
iPad
my
until we
glasses?
got like SmartPad, you know, still looking for his glasses, you know. So we come up with Chad, but
Yeah.
you know,
Thanks, Josh.
but you know the
Chad thought iPad started with an E.
yeah. The funny thing is, we were like, dude, we're all getting iPads. He was like, why do I need an iPad? He was like, I got my glasses.
And
I was like,
iPads.
I'm like, man, I just got used to not having a phone with a cord on it.
oh man, yeah, there you go. He's like, dude, he comes in, dude, the other day, and he's got his iPhone, and he's like frustrated, and he keeps doing this, and I'm like, Chad, what the heck are you doing? He's like, how do you flip this thing open, man? I'm like, it's an iPhone, dude. It don't flip phone, dude. It don't flip open.
That's hilarious.
So we come to you,
Yeah.
and I remember sitting down with you, and I'm like, hey, you know, Josh, you and Josh, and I'm talking to Chad. I'm like, hey, what do you think about taking SmartPath by the
Lock the door, by the way.
You want me to do what? I want you to take SmartPath and just kind of make it your baby. I don't need no more kids, man.
I was like, man, I have grandkids. I don't need more kids.
I mean, what were you thinking? I mean, we were kind of like, yeah, dude.
Honestly, honestly, I came in my old world of using an iPad. So for me, this is more the norm than flipping open a laptop and doing it.
Is that what you did in the?
In the food business, I worked
Gotcha.
on an iPad.
Gotcha.
So I remember asking if I could work on an iPad when I came here. And it was the opposite of, no, we can't do that, we gotta do it this way. And now we've actually switched to
Back.
the other way, to the iPad. And I think the biggest thing for me is when everyone can figure out how it best fits them and the process that they go through with the customer, so it's the customers, it's easiest for the customer, that's when it's gonna be successful.
And that's why they chose you to do
I
this.
let people, well, first of all,
Because you get the
I'm
customer
fitting.
experience.
I have to do this to see the buttons to hit.
And then you look over them. I mean,
No.
and then you look through them.
And the only thing I wish it had was voice automation. Hey, you can do this. And then I'd be sitting back.
Yeah.
But I'm already to the point with it where I actually turn it around and hand the thing to the customers and let the customers go through and I walk them through the steps.
Yeah.
Not only does it ease their minds, they have fun with it, they get to choose what they want.
Yeah.
The best part that I say at the end is, you see that button up there in the corner? Yeah, hit it. What'd I do? You just bought the car. But by the time we're there, they already know everything as far as the details, because the whole point in me, in what I want to see come out of it is, a lot of customers always say, I don't like being at the dealership 3 hours. I don't like being at the dealership 2 hours. Well, guess what? We now have a way to get a customer in and out of here in less than an hour.
Yeah. You did one the other day, like 45 minutes.
I literally walked through
Start to finish.
SmartPath 7 minutes with the customer from beginning to end. The other part was putting them in make sure the car that they were talking about was a car they loved and they wanted to take
Yeah.
home. SmartPath was 7 minutes. And then they were back.
What's the
filling out
customer?
paperwork.
You know, you
Because
think
the
about it.
customer
We used to, the old way, you used to have to go and then go to the management office
Back
and then
and
go
forth.
back and back
Yeah.
and forth, and then you negotiate now with SmartPath right from the iPad. So as we, you know, we've transitioned you, Chad. You're our SmartPath
Yeah.
manager. You're
Yes.
that guy. You're gonna be.
Yes.
So what I really want to do, man, and you'll join me. Let's get together. Let's get together every other week. Let's get together twice a month. Let's really try to talk about. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to SmartPath and what you're dealing with and what's come up over the last 2 weeks and how do we deal with it. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna really dive into what was Toyota's stance on that deal, because Toyota's great for getting back to you and like fixing things. I mean,
Right.
they are really very rare do I send an email and I'm not like within the next half an hour, 45 minutes, I got a response by. So I want you to, I want you to come back and we'll sit and we'll talk about how SmartPath is working and how it's affecting the salespeople.
Right.
And there's gonna be some good stories. And there's gonna be some bad ones. But we want to make sure that we want to share. And we're gonna try to share that with people. As we go through this. So, twice a month, if you give me the time, we'd love to sit down and we just kind of sit down and shoot the breeze. And we'll get Carl back here and just so you know,
Cue cards.
this guy's over there, and you talk about technology. Most of the old card, and it's like, say this, right? He's back there with his phone typing.
First of all, I couldn't even read it.
Yeah, it was upside down. He just didn't know. I was like, all right, I'm sure it's something smart, Alec. So I'm gonna assume because it's coming from Carl. But I'd love to do that. And we're gonna try to do that and get all over. And I'll tell you. Yeah, dive into it and just kind of see. I'm gonna pick your brain about what you're going through and how you feel about SmartPath. And I'll tell you, one time you may not feel the way you feel right now.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
We'll see. So
No.
we'll keep it going. CJ, may you? Yeah, he's the guy behind the scenes.
He's our Yoda.
He's the brain, man. He's our toy Yoda back there, kind of making us both sound smart, like we know we're doing it. So as people listening, they're like, "Who's the dude's voice just keeps showing?" It's like any other guru, man. You can hear him, but you don't see him, right? So
Makes the wheel turn.
CJ, Moo, he'll be on the back right there. Chad Christensen, you're gonna be coming in here and kind of keeping us up and up on.
Yep.
On SmartPath and how it's going, and just the car business from the sales side of it in general. And then I will come in and do what I always do, which is absolutely nothing. And do as you guys, that I absolutely do nothing. And every other week we're just going to come in here and I'm just going to look at you both and say, let's be honest.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's be honest about what we do. So
Absolutely.
I'm in, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited,
Me too.
and we'll get it done. And I don't know, man. I don't even know half the crap that I wanted to talk about. I didn't even talk about it. I mean, that's because you started talking about phones and cords and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, you started talking about me having another baby too, so let's do.
well, the baby
Game
was
over.
SmartPath, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the baby.
No, yeah, that's what happens.
Oh.
You got a grandbaby.
Yeah.
And now a SmartPath baby.
Yeah, now I got another baby. I got to mature and let
Hey,
it
you
grow
know
up
what?
and then
You're-
set it free.
You're not gonna retire anytime soon because you're having kids
What?
too.
Yeah,
right?
you're
Whoa.
yeah.
Hey, you stop paying me?
That's true.
Well, great guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We'll get
Sounds
together
great.
here in about a week and a half, and we'll be honest again.
Cool.